Hi, this is Krista Martin with your AI Minute. I'm creating these little videos to help the C-suite understand what's going on in AI and things that they really have to pay attention to, especially if you're a small to medium business and you're looking at bringing some of these technologies into your portfolio of how you go to market. Let's take a look, some do's and don'ts. First, let's take a look at generative AI. That's what everybody is using these days. They're going on to the chat GTPs, the Claudes, the Jaspers, those kinds of platforms, and they're really using it to create and to draw and to really write some new content to be able to get out in front of people. Does it save time? Yes. Are there some issues? Yes. What do you need to know? Let's take a look. Really, I want to bring up two things here about AI, and they're really kind of classified into two classifications. So, if you're not into AI, you really want to know that supervised and unsupervised are the two types of AI that are out there. Supervised just means that you gave it rules and regulations to follow, meaning don't say anything nasty. Don't do this, don't do that, do this, do that. Take a look at these kinds of questions and answer them directly. So you're giving it guidance. Unsupervised means that you're giving it a problem and you're letting it go out and search and really finding its own training models and trying to come up with the solution for you. And it can have some interesting consequences. There are many things that have gone and been created and had to been pulled off the market because they just don't generate the results they want. So I would say if you're new to AI, start with the supervised kinds of platforms. And one of the other things I'd like to bring up is as you're using these platforms, realize that they're out there, they're grabbing things off the internet, which is going to be a problem in the future. We may find that people say, hey, you're grabbing my creative and you used it. So be cautious about that as you're looking at your C-suite roadmap, which I'm going to be going into here in a second. But it is hallucinating. So I've even found when I've asked some of these platforms to go in that they're making up case studies, they're making up statistics. So you really have to take a look at these cautions and create your roadmap for what your marketing team or other teams are using to be able to create your AI generated content. So let's talk about if you're in the C-suite, what do you really need to think about here? You need to create your company roadmap and have something that they can follow. First, you need the goals for the piece that you're creating, the voice that it needs to be created in, what your audience is, and how you want to approach them, and then what are their pain points that you want to solve with this piece. And then let the generative AI have at it. Give it the questions you want answered. Go back and chunk it a little bit. I found that works better. Then ask it for statistics and case studies, and then fact check it. Make sure that you're fact checking all of these things because I have found where it's made up case stories, it's made up statistics. Is sometimes if you call out, use a certain statistic site, it'll go and pull it out from there. So you have to become a real sleuth to find out whether or not your generated AI piece is going to go and really resonate with folks and be truthful. And then also you want to take a look at there's something called the uncanny valley with robots where people know that it's fake. And we're seeing the same thing in generative AI creative pieces. And in fact, Google and other sites are going to go in and start flagging AI generated. So now there's sites that are created where you create your AI and then you put it through a fact check kind of scenario where you can go in and say, does it look generated by AI? You may want to bring that into your roadmaps too, so that they can, so that your marketing teams or other folks can have something that looks original versus something that's AI generated. I wanted to give you one example. I have a CEO that's going in and wanting to write a book. So I was looking at some of the platforms that generate book covers, and I just used an example from a personal example of generate a book cover of a boy with his herd of horses. And I ended up with this wackadoodle kind of boy with at least I think it's a boy with a horse head on him, and then a girl standing there looking at her horse herd. So nothing what I would really consider using. And then I generated a little paragraph using some of the generated AI, and it came up with the horse picked him up with his hands. Well, horses don't have hands, they have hooves. So these are the kinds of things that you really have to take a look at. And finally, as we go through, if people like this kind of quick hit on AI for the C suite, go ahead and subscribe to my C suites Moves and Grooves. I talk a lot more than about AI. I talk about what's going on in the C suite and the things that you really need to hear. So if you like this, subscribe and let me know, and I'll create some more.